Frankie is on vacation. I'm Alan Invesio for FSPN, the Frankie Sports Programming Network. Welcome to this deep dive explainer. Today we're setting up a highly visual analysis of a player who is, quite frankly, completely flying under the radar. We're going to unfold exactly why the consensus has it all wrong, using the hard evidence we've structured for you today.
Like it says right there, I'm filling in, and I'm bringing that high energy today because, man, we have got to talk about a guy whose entire career narrative desperately needs to be flipped on its head.
Here's the bold thesis for you. Adonai Mitchell is about to absolutely shock the NFL. Seriously. If you've only been box score watching, you are totally going to miss this. His career has been completely misread. His story so far? It isn't defined by what he's actually done, but rather by what he hasn't been allowed to become. But you know what? That all changes right now with his arrival to play for the New York Jets.
So here's the roadmap for how we're going to logically dismantle the myths surrounding Mitchell today. Number 1, the college context. 2, elite physical traits. 3, the Jets' true X. 4, the Geno Smith factor. And finally, number 5, projecting the breakout. Let's dive in.
Okay, Section 1, the college context and his misleading production. Look, we have to address the absolute elephant in the room here, his college box scores.
Because if you just pull up his stats on your phone, honestly, nothing really jumps off the page. But look at this stark contrast in context. At Georgia, he was completely buried in a system that prioritized defense and a run-heavy scheme. The targets were just spread way too thin. Yet, when the lights were the brightest, like in the college football playoff, he was the guy delivering clutch touchdowns. Then he transfers over to Texas. Everyone expected this massive statistical explosion, right? But instead, he was dealing with uneven quarterback play and super inconsistent timing. Texas never fully leaned into his actual skill set as a true boundary receiver. So we're left with these brilliant flashes, but lacking that dominant volume you want to see.
Which brings us to Section 2, elite physical traits and what actually translates to the pro level. We've got to toss those college box scores out the window for a second and focus entirely on the raw scouting.
Guys, Mitchell is a prototypical X receiver. We're talking about the size and the length to completely dominate the catch point. He's got this smooth, almost deceptive build-up acceleration. He doesn't just run fast. He glides and accelerates right past defenders before they even know what happened. He possesses elite body control along the boundary, and most importantly, he plays above the rim. So here's the absolutely crucial takeaway. Mitchell is not a gadget player. He isn't some slot-dependent guy. He's an isolated matchup nightmare who absolutely thrives in the red zone and on third downs.
So, if he has all these insane traits, why hasn't it fully clicked yet? That brings us to Section 3, the Jets' true X and getting a defined role. The New York Jets' offensive ecosystem is literally the perfect fit.
See, the Jets are actually going to use him correctly. He steps right into this offense as their true X receiver. And what does that mean for us? It means he's going to be facing top corners, yeah, but he'll be the one dictating the coverage. He's going to be creating spacing for the entire offense. When you have a true X receiver out there on an island, it forces defenses into making really difficult choices.
Let's walk through the exact progression of what a true X receiver does in this specific jet structure. Step 1, line up on the boundary. Step 2, run the full route tree. We're moving way beyond just running deep go balls here. He's running comebacks, digs, fades, back shoulder routes, the whole shebang. Step 3, punish defensive choices. For the first time, Mitchell has an offense built to feature this exact progression.
But look, an offensive structure is only as good as the guy pulling the trigger, right? Let's hit Section 4, the Geno Smith factor and decisive quarterbacking. I trust you to win that. That quote completely encapsulates Geno Smith's mentality. Look, this isn't about Geno being some top 3 elite quarterback. It's about him being a decisive, rhythm thrower who reads leverage perfectly. He gives his outside receivers actual chances. When you're Adonai Mitchell, you don't need perfect throws. You just need opportunities from a quarterback who actually trusts you to go get it.
Let's look at how this builds out with the specific throws Geno completely mastered over in Seattle. We're talking back shoulder throws, contested catch opportunities, timing routes that hit right before the receiver's break. Notice something here? These are exactly the areas where Mitchell thrives. Instead of waiting around for broken plays or inconsistent targets like he had to do in college, he's now built directly into the structure and the natural progression of the offense. It's a real game changer.
All right, let's bring it all home. Section 5, projecting the breakout. Scheme plus role equals breakout. We're going to combine all these factors to project the mathematical reality of this upcoming season.
First, we've got to define this concept clearly. Wide receiver production is what we call a highly context-dependent metric. It relies on the perfect alignment of four things: quarterback play, offensive scheme, the player's role, and the overall game script. The reason people are doubting Mitchell right now is simply because they don't realize he has literally never had alignment across all four of these categories, until this exact moment with the Jets.
I strongly urge you to trust the film over the box score here. On tape, you literally see corners struggling to stay in phase, but, that gets hidden on the stat sheet. You see late separation, but it was missed by an uneven quarterback. You see incredibly clean wins, but they resulted in nothing because of poor ball placement. The tape shows a superstar, the box score just shows a role player. We have to project forward based on the tape.
And here is the real aha moment. 6 to 8. That is the magic number. Mitchell doesn't need 150 targets to have a monster year. He just needs 6 to 8 highly efficient, high-value targets per game in this structurally sound offense. Because his skill set is so specialized for explosive plays and dominating the red zone, those 6 to 8 targets, they go a remarkably long way. The result of those 6 to 8 targets? 1,000+ yards and double-digit touchdowns, for sure. And this happens not because he's being selfishly force-fed the ball, but because the offense naturally creates these explosive plays within its normal rhythm. But the real-world impact goes well beyond just raw numbers. He becomes the Jets' absolute go-to option on third down. He becomes their primary red zone weapon. Most importantly, he becomes the receiver that opposing defenses literally must account for in every single snap. And when he's winning consistently on the outside like that, every single other player in that Jets offense just has an easier job.
Which leaves us with this final mic drop question. How did we miss that? Adonai Mitchell isn't your typical breakout candidate coming off some super hyped-up season. He's a player whose career was quietly miscast. But when you finally take that elite physical talent and you merge it with a true X role, a competent quarterback, and the perfect offensive formula, well, it creates a breakout that almost no one saw coming. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'm Alan Invezio, and I'll catch you guys next time.